Hello family. I'm making this video for you today because I want to talk about connections with others, relationships between family members, between partners, between friends, and handlers and unconscious handlers. So many of you on the ascension path understand being targeted, right? The targeted individuals are the ones who have the abilities to be multidimensional, beyond 10th dimension, and to remember their source level avatar and to connect with that, right? You're anchoring light codes into this reality, which makes you a threat to the systems who are enslaving this reality. Now, that being said, we all have this deep desire to connect, right? That's built into us, a deep desire to be with others, to find our people, to find our person, if you will, right? And the desire to be in that partnership is hardwired into you because you are meant to reconnect with your soul tribe, right? Your spiritual family. Now, in the realm of partnerships, friendships, and family members, these can end up being unconscious handlers, sometimes conscious handlers, but at this point, for the most part, unconscious handlers, right? Like in the alien love bite, that would be two people being puppeted, right? Like marionettes being controlled from an external source. Well, with the remote neural monitoring, the remote neural programming, that's still happening, and especially in romantic partnerships, because that's who we tend to be the most vulnerable and the most open with. And so this is what I want to talk about with the unconscious handlers. So when people call on other beings, or if they have soul contracts, or they're engaging in, and please excuse the term demonic if you don't like it, replace it with what you do like, because I do like that term. It gives a very clear picture of what's happening. These are predatory entities, predatory beings, if you will. And they will partially possess people. And this is if people are engaging in things like lying, basically anything that's going against your own moral code and your code of ethics, right? When you're doing something that you know deep inside is not right for you or others. Okay, so lying is a form of manipulation. That is not something that is ever going to benefit you. Cheating, lying, things like that, right? Stealing. And I'm not talking about like, okay, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So what I was going to say, in case you're curious, is that nobody really owns any property here. These people who are withholding resources are assholes, and they have no right to do it. In the grand scheme of things, no right to do it. They are bullies that have taken and have murdered to acquire the resources or the ability to control the resources, right? But anyways, they're the thieves, really. Anyhow, so I'm getting off track and I don't want to. So with the unconscious handlers though, with the AI system, the digital twin system that I've been talking about, this is the system that I've been talking about it for years. This is the system that it has been gathering data on you, and the reason there's so much surveillance and all of that. So the digital twin is a remote neural programming system run by AI. Once they've mapped you with the remote neural monitoring and stuff, they have the AI oversee it. Now they're doing this to people that are partners, right? So you can be very drawn to somebody, and often we're drawn to people because they contain whatever we need to see the reflection of, right? So we have soul contracts with certain souls that we don't want to break because we help each other clear the traumas by reflection. Now in that, there can be projections which don't clear the trauma, they reinforce the trauma, right? We don't want to do that. If there's a trigger, it's inside of you, it's not the other person. The other person is simply showing you, and maybe not so kindly, but showing you where you have that trigger. And then what you do with that trigger is up to you, okay? Triggers are opportunities to clear trauma and gain your strength and power, your personal power back. so that you're not bound by some traumatic event, which allows mind control and control, right? People don't leave situations because they're traumatized and they stay in them. That's a form of control, trauma, control, right? Okay, so with the unconscious handlers, you can meet a new friend or a partner and they're not being controlled to work against you at the beginning. Once you open up to them, they can start to be controlled. So if they're engaging in any type of demonic activity, so you know what those are, right? And you know when you see them, any type of like drugs and alcohol, including pharmaceuticals. I'm never going to promote the pharmaceuticals. Those are the biggest murderers on the planet. Anyways, I digress. If you are engaging in, and I'm not saying having a glass of wine is horrible or having a cocktail or something like that. For goodness sake, I was just a bartender. It's how much and if you become enslaved to it, if you have to have it, if it's an urge you cannot control, that is you being controlled by something outside of you, right? Now, if you're on drugs or alcohol, it's very easy for you to be handled. It's very easy to manipulate your emotions, your movements, your choices, all of it. That's why I said in a couple of videos ago, this is not the time to be coping with drugs or alcohol. This is the time for you to be taking really good care of yourself and having clarity of mind. Having your green juices, moringa, wheatgrass, things like that, taking nutrients into the body and not really buying into the pharmaceuticals. Nature has everything you need, okay? Everything you need is already here, and it's also in you. Your mind can actually direct energy, and you know this, right? But I'm reminding you of your power of presence in the present moment. Whatever you focus on, intention, attention, energy follows both of those. So be mindful of what you're allowing your attention to be on, and be aware of what your intentions are with others, with yourself, with your day. Are you setting intentions in the morning? A lot of us don't, because we're so busy. They've got us so busy chasing paper, which is not the important thing here. And I get it. Everyone can say, well, we can't live without it. I understand that. But also, you have the ability to align and become resonant with resources and opportunities. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice yourself, but your points of view of how you see yourself in this world really matter right now. Do you see yourself as powerful? Because we are multidimensional beings anchoring light codes. And we are amazing. And we are targeted, many of us. It doesn't mean that we have to go into a victim story about it, because we don't. But, so the main reason that I'm making this is to remind you that people can come into your life and then, because of you, get targeted heavy to work against you. Okay? So, and the reason I'm saying is because I want you to be gentle with others and to understand everyone is healing their trauma from the inverted grid and the AI constructed timelines where we were highly traumatized through these timeline wars and the timeline resets, right? And not everyone understands timelines. If you do, you do. If you don't, I have other videos in the YouTube library that explain them. So, making sure that you're accountable for how you're communicating, how you're showing up in a relationship. Are you letting your trauma, which is a filter, a lot of the trauma is filters, guilt, shame, blame, those are filters. Anger, hatred, resentment, those are all filters. Suspicion, those are all filters that you hold in your field, the spiritual houses, if you will. And so when you are interacting with people that you suspect may go under mind control as a way to, they may be weaponized against you, right? It may not be that person even having an idea that that's happening, or those people, right? You don't have to excuse people's behavior. But what I'm reminding you is you also don't have to go into hatred or conflict or blame or shame or any of that stuff, okay? Recognize what's happening. Check in with yourself deep inside to know. Because most of us right now, if we reach a certain level of vibration, the AI systems hit us. They target us in so many different ways. The tones in the ears are just one. You may feel, if you have like burning sensations anywhere on your body, or like especially on the top of your head, that is directed energy weapons, my friends, and it's not fun. Radiation is a very real thing that they will blast at you. Millimeter waves, they will blast you with those, and it will make you sick too. If you suddenly feel like you're overheating and you're gonna barf, and you felt heard any tones or felt anything on your head or burning sensations on your body, those are directed energy weapons, okay? Now, are we going to get through this? Fuck yes, we are. We're definitely getting through this. However, it takes all of us standing in our power and not going into stories or making up meanings, because the meanings in life are the ones that you apply. There are no inherent meanings in anything, okay? And that disturbs people. But if you really think about it, you can apply a different meaning to the same thing that somebody else has a different meaning for, right? So really, we have different points of view. We apply different meanings. And so checking your points of view, checking your meanings, do they benefit you? Are they benefiting others? Or are they something based in blame, shame, guilt, fear, hatred, resentment, suspicion, all those lower energies that basically our body is saying, this isn't true, this isn't true. Right? We have that built-in filter. We have that built-in system to make sure that we don't go off track. So our body does everything it can to make sure we don't go off track. And so forgiveness goes a long way. Tolerance of terrible behavior or abuse against you, no. That is a disrespect to yourself. So it is up to you to remove yourself from situations like that. But also, just because somebody does something doesn't mean that they're trying to abuse you. Remember, people can be overtaken by demonic beings if they have engaged in any type of behavior, like that stuff I talked about earlier, and have not, because those are invitations. That's participation with them, right? Now, you can revoke consent. So anywhere in any timeline, lifetime, dimension, reality, level of creation, plane of existence, past, present, or future self that you have ever made an oath, pact, promise, pledge, bond, vow, contract, commitment, or allowed jurisdiction to be placed over you, rituals performed over you, curses placed on you or your lineage, covenants, indentures, rulerships, or representations that would allow you to be in contract or under control by any type of manipulative entity or being. Are you willing to permanently and completely revoke consent to that now? Yeah. And any thoughts, ideas, agreements, fears, worries, doubts, concerns, or points of view that would prevent you from clearing that. Are you willing to uncreate, obliterate, and destroy it permanently and completely? Yeah, good. I love you so very much, and thank you for being here with me. I'm glad I'm finally in a space that I can make these videos and connect with you again. You're amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for anchoring the codes that you anchor. Thank you for facing the challenges that you're facing, because none of this is easy, my friends. None of this is easy, but it can be joyful at times. It can. So hang in there. I love you. I'll see you soon.